flow state basically is something that we used to refer to in dance, where when you're freestyling, as an example, when you freestyle and dance, you basically have to dance to the music without using a routine or thinking of anything you've done before. So you basically just kind of keep your body moving, and it's a similar concept to in like Dragon Ball Z. I always refer back to that because I used to love it as an anime.
Mm-hmm.
But Goku, the main character, has to get to this state called Ultra Instinct, which is
Mm-hmm.
where your body moves without you thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a similar thing in dance. When you're freestyling, you start moving and dancing to the music, and you're not even thinking about it. Your body just reacts to the music.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very specific because you then start hitting certain notes, certain beats, certain runs. So it's not just like you're just flowing, you're aggressively attacking the music in a
Mm-hmm.
very structured way without thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get into flow state, 9 times out of 10, dancers will go on to like a battle 1 versus 1.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll literally kill the other dancer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then they come out of the battle later and they're just like, I don't even remember anything I did. I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember anything that I did in that battle because they were just in that zone, in the flow state.
Yeah.
Um, and I came to kind of realize that the flow state really is kind of like you're separating your soul and you're allowing your body to do what it does, but it is replaced by something. It's not you that is doing that.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be another spiritual entity that will be doing that for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's ultimately what it is. But people don't really recognize that because there's such a new age influence in the dance industry. The
Yeah.
terms that they used to refer to things, even this ideology of your truth,
Yeah.
people now really say that all the time. Oh, this is your truth or my
Is
truth.
it Isha, is it similar to do you get the same kind of feeling when you do yoga?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know there is a lot of people been attacked several times in the past from my readings,
Mm.
demonic attacks, so
Mm.
via practicing yoga. Is that
Yeah,
is that the same thing as well?
exactly the same. So
Hmm.
you're aligning yourself with the spirits in one way or another. They have portals they can use to access your body and your soul.
Hmm.
And if you allow them to have that access, they will use you, whether you
Hmm.
like it or not, whether you even know they're doing it or not, they will use you for their purpose.
Hmm.
And when you don't have the protection of God, you're under their command and
Hmm.
they will just use and abuse you.
Hmm.
There's a very similar thing in yoga where they put their bodies in these very specific positions.
Yeah.
Now, people think yoga is nothing. It's because it's marketed in the Western world
Yeah.
as like this thing that people do to get healthy and stretch. It's not that. It's not that at all. Yoga is a demonic practice,
Hmm.
and when they're practicing these or using these positions, they're
Yeah.
aligning themselves in a way which is then going to align with a spiritual entity that is in sync with that type of movement.
Yeah.
So people don't know that, but then you're already coming into agreement with the enemy. And
Hmm.
it's like a portal they can use to then start to access you and influence you, give you more thoughts into your mind to
Hmm.
push you away from God and push you down a certain type of path.
Hmm.
So you might start thinking about homosexuality. You might start thinking about idolatry
Hmm.
or adultery. You might
Hmm.
have these thoughts that you didn't have before and you don't know where they're coming from.
Hmm.
And you won't even realize these are being put into your mind. And in the new age, we used to call it thought forms, where
Thought
these
forms.
yeah, so the shadow people, as we used to call them, can throw
Hmm.
thought forms into your mind unless
Hmm.
your spirit is strong enough to withstand them.
Hmm.
Obviously, now I know these shadow people were actually demonic entities that
Hmm.
were attacking people, but we gave them a different name,
Yeah.
almost like a divide and conquer. We were fighting against these shadow people
Yeah.
while not realizing that the ones who were helping us fight against shadow people are
Yeah.
the shadow people under a different form, like angels of light.
Yeah.
So they created a straw man in order to lead you away from God, which is pretty much what they did.
Something happened, didn't it? Once, I mean, on the day that you set up your group during Britain's Got Talent 2008, you had a peculiar kind of demonic attack, which
Yeah.
changed your life for once and forever after that, I think. Can you take
Mm,
us through that again, please?
yeah, 100%. And just before I go into that as well, I just wanted to let you know.
Yeah.
So the video I was sent initially that really threw me into the spirit world and new age occultism
Yeah.
was a video by a company or a YouTube channel called Spirit Science.
Uh-huh.
And they were massive, 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 pumped out new age material all the time. And they basically ran stories about
Uh-huh.
creation and ran it all
Yeah.
the way until now. And
Yeah.
the idea is that you're going to raise your consciousness level using indigo children and star
Ah.
seeds and help to raise the consciousness back to the
Yeah.
Christ consciousness, they used to call it,
Yeah.
which is interesting because obviously, why would you even call it Christ consciousness? It's just
Exactly.
pagan takeover of Christ,
Yeah. Yes.
because they're saying we can use this Christ consciousness to
Mhm.
ascend,
Mhm.
whereas Christians believe we just need Christ to ascend.
Mhm.
So it's just a pagan twist of the actual truth.
Yeah.
Uh, and it paints Lucifer as the good guy.
Wow.
So that's kind of what led me down that route initially. And I was all the way down into the whole alien conspiracy, all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to 2017.
Yeah.
So this was the second time my new group called K&E was doing Britain's Got Talent.
Mhm.
And the year before, they actually asked us if we wanted to do the show, and we actually declined it.
Mhm.
And then I got really ill. I caught tonsillitis and chest infection, and I went to
Mhm.
hospital.
Yeah.
The next day I was home and I was taking some medication. And at this point, I'd already had a few demonic attacks. So I was already kind of on my way out of the new age. So I'd already made the decision that I'm not doing that anymore. And I
Yeah.
was lukewarm Christian, finding my
Mhm.
path towards the Lord,
Yeah.
but I wasn't all the way there. I wasn't reading the Bible.
Mhm.
And at this point, the attacks they were getting strong because they realized they were losing their grip on me.
Yeah.
So in this particular attack, I remember lying back on my bed. Now, when
Mhm.
you're projecting, we used to be trained to go through this process
Mhm.
where you meditate, it feels like everything's shaking, like the room's like an earthquake, and
Yeah.
then it just stops. And it's like there's a little, and then you pop out of your body, and that's how you astral project, and you can travel and you can see spirit realms where we used
Mhm.
to see the shadow people, right?
Mhm.
So I knew that process. It takes a bit of time for you to get to the point where spirit pops out.
Yeah.
Now, this particular day, I remember lying in bed and I closed my eyes. And when I tell you within 5 seconds, this feeling of falling as if you're on a drop tower on towers or something, immediately I was like, and I felt like I was falling. And I was like, okay, whatever just did that is powerful. This is not your run of the mill demon. Whatever just
Wow.
did that one is no joke. Because I got to the point I was starting to recognize the different levels of demons and what they can actually do.
Wow.
So I was already aware that certain demons can do things and others can't. And the one that did this one is either a high ranking demon or a principality. It had to be one of the two. And just to explain, if anyone wants to know the difference,
Mhm.
a principality is normally a fallen angel that works under Lucifer. So there
Okay.
would be the fallen ones that are given territory in very specific areas. So you
Yeah.
might have a principality that looks after London,
Mhm.
and it will be assigned a horde of 1 million demons to help it carry out whatever means it needs, almost like a demonic government.
Yeah.
So that's how they operate. And then the principality then reports to Lucifer. In the same
Oh.
way, there's got biblical connotations as well, because the Bible does talk about the Prince of Persia, I believe it is, who
Yeah.
was a principality and it's a fallen angel.
Mhm.
And they have a very specific level of power that other demons do not have.
Wow.
Now, I knew it had to be something along those sort of lines to have been able to do that.
Yeah.
And immediately I was in a dream where I saw my group Caney at the time on stage for the judges audition, the first round,
Yeah.
and all 4 judges standing ovation, clapping for my group.
Yeah.
And then it showed me my group in the final winning the show. Again, standing ovation, all 4 judges. It even showed me who the judges were going to be. So I
Wow.
knew in advance
This,
what the judging
this,
panel was
this
going to
is
be.
2016 or 17?
This was 2017. This happened.
2017. So you
Yeah,
were the finalist in 2008.
yeah,
Now
and
this
then
is now
semi-final this year.
okay. All right, go on.
Yeah. So yeah, it was crazy. So I saw us winning the show.
Yeah.
And then it showed me a vision of me, my partner, my son, who was, I think, 2 years old at the time,
Yeah.
walking through a park in London. I was living in Milton Keynes at this time. And I remember seeing this park. It was beautiful. And, you just know that you're in a very, very affluent area. It was
Yeah.
like, you have to take your shoes off. This park is that clean. It was incredible. And I just knew only rich people lived anywhere near this place. And then I remember walking home with her, and then we had like a bungalow at the time,
Yeah.
and it was like attached to a mansion behind it. So it was almost like it was showing me this is what you're gonna get. And then I remember opening the front door to the house to go back in, and I
Yeah.
looked down the hallway and I saw my body sleeping at the end of the hallway. And that was the
Wow.
first time within the dream I realized I was dreaming. And I was like,
Wow.
oh my days. And then all of a sudden everything went pitch black. And it's this type of darkness where it's almost like it's alive. Like it's a powerful darkness. And I remember it was almost like my soul, because you communicate through spirit. So you
Mhm.
don't actually talk. It's all telepathic. And it was almost like my soul spoke and it said, what do I have to do for all of this?
Yeah.
And then a contract appeared in the darkness and I could see it, even though it's pitch black. There was no like light. but I could see it clearly. And it was like a scroll that was like rolled and then down and then rolled, like you'd find in a Knight's Tale or something. And it had gold trim around it. And I immediately realized I know what this is. And I came out of this deception that I was feeling, because they throw thoughts into your head to make you feel happy and comfortable, to lead you towards whatever it is they want you to do. But I knew that it was basically a contract you sign in blood, in the spirit. And once you've signed it, then everything you've seen will be yours. You'll get it. They'll make you famous the next day if you sign a contract, especially if you sacrifice. So I realized what it was. And because they can read your thoughts, I didn't even have to say no. I just thought, oh my word, I know what this is. Because the week before, I saw a video of an artist in America who's independent, who said he saw something exactly the same.
Wow.
And so I had that realization. Maybe God showed me that video in advance to give me that warning. And then I was like, oh, my days, I know what this is. And then immediately, zoom, right back in my body. I opened my eyes, I looked to my left, and there's this dark, jet black demonic entity standing next to my bed.
Well, for real now?
Yeah, it was there. It
so
was there.
From the dream, now this entity is like next to you in your bedroom for real.
Yeah, and I'm this time I'm back in my body, and that paralyzing fear hit me. I couldn't even move. I couldn't say anything. At this point, I hadn't learned to say something like, in Jesus' name, leave in peace. That's something that a lot of Christians are taught to use if they come across these things. Now, the really powerful ones can stop you from talking. They can stop it, and you have to kind of say it in your mind over and over until it leaves. But they can actually slow your mouth down and stop you from talking, to stop you from getting it out. And I saw it, and then it started disappearing very slowly, very, very slowly. And then it was gone. And then as soon as it vanished, my partner walked past the door to the bedroom, and she said, "Are you okay? Do you need anything?" So I knew I wasn't dreaming, because there was no transition between this thing disappearing and her walking in the room. So I knew I'd seen it.
Interesting.
And then I think it was probably 2 or 3 weeks later, I get the call from ITV saying, "We want you back on the show for K&E." And then I spoke to my other guy, the lead singer. And I was saying, look, if we do this, like, we've got to be on point with the spiritual aspect of this, because we know what happens. We know what these things will ask of you and what they'll take from you.
The singer that came to my mind when you talked about astral projection is Travis Scott. And he's even got like the music video called Astral Projection or something of that sort. Do you think this the demonic world was leading you to be like him, so that you could use you to influence a lot of other people?
More people.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. They were trying to groom me. And that's why I was saying at the beginning, I found it interesting that I chose the rap name Red Dragon, which is another name the devil uses. And it just popped into my head out of nowhere. I had no concept of the devil or demons, anything at this point. It just went straight in. And I was just like, everything. It just felt like there was a pathway being formed from day one, mixed with these tortures that I was put through to groom me to get to a point where I can accept this. And for the most part, it worked, because I didn't know what was happening. I was far away from God, but God never left me. He never left me to the wolves. He always gave me a little bit, just enough to keep me away. But with Travis Scott, he had a tour as well. I think it was called Astral World.
Astral World. And a lot of people who attended the show even died during the concert. I think because of a stampede, or I think I believe there was a ritual, some sort of ritual, demonic ritual that took place in that concert. And I also, not only Travis Scott, but also the Weeknd, the musician, him as well. I mean, after I watched your interview, even before that, sometimes I see his music videos and I say, wow, this is very demonic. And I don't know if you know, but he's from Ethiopian background as well. His parents are Ethiopian, or Ethiopian or Eritrean, but I know he's half Ethiopian. But his music videos, especially the one that I watched about baptisms through fire, to make it like a demonic kind of baptism. Can you tell me a little bit about him as well, please?
Yeah, it was just the concept of the video is similar to what some artists will do, which kind of symbolizes them being reborn into the satanic entertainment world.
And
it was almost like in that video where at the beginning he's singing on stage and nobody's feeling his music. Everyone's talking and they're doing their own thing. And you see
Yeah.
this demonic dark entity sitting in the crowd
Yeah.
looking at him. And then it lights him on fire.
Yeah.
And fire is interesting because they tend to use that as a way to say, okay, this is where the change is.
Yeah.
But they also use water. Beyonce
Mhm.
used that in one of her videos. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, when he got set on fire, the whole crowd was like, I like this guy. All of a sudden, they like him. He's not
Mhm.
changed anything. He's
Mhm.
doing the same thing, but someone has made it possible for everybody to love his music
Mhm.
just because they have that kind of power and influence over people's spirits, especially
Mhm.
those who aren't saved.
Mhm.
So it just changed like that. And it was symbolism to say you've now been baptized and you're now part of the satanic cult
Mhm.
and you're now reborn. It's like a baptism into Satanism. And
Mhm.
then you notice the direction his music went, right? He started with I Can't Feel My Face and The Hills, which were slightly edgy, but they weren't like dark or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
And then he went into making other songs, and there's clearly a lustful spirit that is working through him because his music went to a point where I feel like it's influencing people
Yeah.
to feel that lustful feelings. When you listen to his songs,
Yeah.
if you listen to that and then you get ready to go into a club, you're
Mhm.
already primed to do whatever it is you're going to do, like adultery or whatever it might be, right? It's
Yeah.
programming your mind to go into this lustful state.
Yeah.
And his music is geared, and bearing in mind, his target audience is young kids and teenagers, and maybe like your 12 to 26 type age bracket, right?
Yeah.
All the type of ages you expect people to be developing sexually and starting doing things like that
Yeah.
is who he's targeting.
Mhm.
And he's leading them into that. And I feel like all these different celebs have different purposes.
Mhm.
Like he was dealing with like the immoral sexual practice.
Yeah.
You then have like Beyonce, who's kind of leading people into this ideology of you don't need God, just be your own person, you're good enough.
Yeah.
Like we run the world. That type of vibe, right?
Yeah.
They're leading people in that direction. In the
Yeah.
same way, Jay-Z, her husband, was saying in is it Empire State, I believe it is,
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
And he was saying Jesus can't save you. And then he said, the world begins when the church ends. So that
Yeah.
tells you everything you need to know. Bearing in mind
Yeah.
that's her husband,
Yeah.
and she's into Yashun worship, I believe it's called. This
Yeah.
yellow kind of pagan princess outfit she wears sometimes on stage with the crown
Yeah.
is the exact same as pagan god called Yashun,
Yeah.
a divine entity from a very long time ago, and she's basically aligned herself with that. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of spiritual path she's gone down, and basically it's I can become like God, which is the first lie in the Garden of Eden, which is what all Satanism is trying to root into our minds.
Yeah.
You don't need God. You can become rich. You can do this. You can do that. Have
Yeah.
fun. Do whatever it is you want, and be your own God. Why are you going to live by the Ten Commandments? Why have rules? And people like that because people like to rebel. We've done it from the first day.
Yeah.
People try and vision this life as the best time they're going to have, and they need to focus on this.
Yeah.
But we need to focus on the afterlife because that's where we spend eternity.
Mhm.
And if people just stop to realize what they're going to get as a gift back from God is so much better than anything Satan can offer you in this world, no matter how much you think it, what
Mhm.
God is going to offer you is greater.
Yeah.
If you realize that, you'd see the stupidity in making the choice of following Lucifer and being rich or whatever in this world.
Mhm.
Now, don't get me wrong, God's not against people making money either. You don't have to
Yeah.
be broke to be a Christian. But at
Exactly.
the same time, you need to put God first. Whatever it is you
Exactly.
do, put God in front.
Yeah.
And if you're successful, he'll bless you. If you're not, you're not.
Because of the kind of world we live in at the moment, I mean, we have social media, all the technology in abundance. And how easy do you think it's for a youngster to be groomed in this kind of new age kind of teaching and the occult in general?
Do you know what? I feel like one of the biggest tools that the devil uses against kids is pride, which is quite ironic because obviously with the LGBT, their whole
Yeah.
focus is pride. And pride is one of the biggest reasons why Lucifer, in fact, it is the main reason Lucifer fell from heaven,
Yeah.
is he became prideful. So
Mhm.
when you apply that to what you see in the world right now,
Yeah.
people have this pride in everything that they do and achieve to the point where they believe they don't need God, because
Mhm.
that's what pride does to your spirit. It
Mhm.
pushes God to the side and says, I am, I do, which is quite ironic because God calls himself I am. Jesus also calls himself I am in John.
Mhm.
So replacing that with I am for me is replacing God with you. And when you do that, you get this amazing feeling because everybody wants to be that person. Everybody wants to live the best life and forget this. I want to sin. I want to go to the club. I want to take this person home and that person home.
Yeah.
I'm not hurting anybody. That's what people normally say. I'm
Yeah.
not hurting anybody. Live and let live. But
Yeah.
that concept only applies to your physical body. That does not apply to your spirit body that will then have to face judgment after you've passed away.
Yeah.
Because then you've got to carry all these sins to the Lord. And your spirit knows the truth. So when you come out of your body, your spirit will be convicted immediately because it knows truth. So no matter how many bad things you did here or how warped your mind is, you're going to feel immense pain when you come out and realize what you've done because your spirit is inherently good. It's your flesh that's bad. So your spirit is going to know it's going to hell and it's going to suffer in hell for things that your flesh forced your body or coaxed your body to do in the physical world. And that separation from God is going to hurt just as much as the physical pain you're going to feel in hell. And people don't realize that there's physical pain for eternity and the knowing of hopeless wasting away that you're never going to come back. You're never going to be together with God again, ever. That darkness and that pain you're going to feel is going to be your existence every day. There's no knowledge. There's no learning. There's no development. It's just wasting away every single day forever. And when you think of it that way, and you see people doing the stupidness that they're doing outside, and you think, wait up. If you put that on chalkboard and said, okay, every sin that you want to do, put it here, and then put eternity in hell against that, the scale is like that. Eternity hell's here, sin's here. There's no way you can beat it.
What do you think is the parents' role should be like in protecting their children?
100%. So the parents' role in protecting the family is number one is prayer. The number one covering you can do for anyone, not just your kids, but your friends, even non-believers, is you pray for them. Prayer is covering. God will hear it. And sometimes another person's prayers intercede for you, which is what I believe happened with me with my mum. My mum was a prayer warrior and she prayed for me nonstop. And I don't believe I'd be sitting here right now if it wasn't for her. So prayer is the number one thing I'd say, please just pray. But learn to pray as well with you. So keep that prayer going through the day. Lord, I just want you to bless me and my family. Please cover our family in the blood of Jesus Christ. Ensure that all the negative entities and fallen spirits of Lucifer cannot touch my family. In Jesus' name, amen. Even something just like that is covering your family. And that gives them a better opportunity to keep the spirits away and the negative influence away, which will then allow you to help guide your children in the right direction. And they're going to be more willing to receive the information if they're living in a household with less demonic influence. Having things like crystals in your house, new age books, tarot cards, Ouija boards, these are all portals that they use to enter your home. If you have these things in your home, get rid of those. You don't need to have anything even related to the new age or Satanism around you or in your home. So getting rid of all these portals that we can allow them in will give our family the best chance of avoiding them as well. Then cover in prayer, and then help guide them, but don't push them too hard in a direction, because if they're not going in that direction, they're not going to go in that direction, and the more you push, the more likely you are to push them right into the hands of Lucifer anyway. So that force doesn't need to be there, but helping to guide them, give them the covering of prayer, they will come one way or the other. They will see the light, and being the example that your children need to see is another thing. So living your life in a certain type of way, walking with Christ, that they see that example and they will follow that example as well. And clear out anything remotely pagan or new age in your house and from your work, from anything you're surrounded with. Just separate yourself completely and start the journey, and you start walking with Christ and you'll get there.
Isha, it was lovely talking to you. But before I let you go, I've got an invitation.
Okay.
We have so many Ethiopian churches here in the UK and in London. And I would like to invite you to one of our churches. I'm sure a lot of the viewers are watching you today from across London in the UK, who are Ethiopian and Eritrean. So I'm sure they'd like to see you speak in their church, share your experiences as well. And you could see how we pray in our churches. And the one I'm particularly go to, Ethiopian Orthodox Church. So I like to in your time of convenience, I'd like you to attend with me one day. And I'm
Love to.
sure this is not just a one-off. And we will talk again. What do you say to that?
100%. I would absolutely love to. Thank you so much. It's been a blessing. I've really enjoyed this one actually, and it's good because there's so many things I forgot on the other video that I've actually added in this one, and there's still more that I haven't added. Just there's been so much. So honestly, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. I know you have a lovely family. Earlier on, you were telling me how busy you were with your family. May God bless your family and you. And we talk again soon, sometime.
100%. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
All right. See you. God bless you. Bye bye.
Thank you.